מה אני רציתי כאן לגיטרה?
So what did I want to say?
בשביל מה נפילה לכאן ושוב חזרה?
Why the fall and then the return?
שכאן אנחנו נגלה עד כמה שאנחנו שונאים זה את זה.
It is so that here we will find how much we hate each
כוח
other,
השבירה,
the power of the breaking,
האגו של כל אחד ואחד.
the ego of every person.
ומתוך זה למה אנחנו צריכים לעלות בעצמנו, ברצוננו בחזרה לאיחוד.
And because of that, we will find why we have to go back up to a state of unification.
כי יש בעיה בתוך הכלי שרוצה להתמלות עם משהו.
Because the problem is that the kli, the vessel, wants to be fulfilled with something.
וזה דומה, נגיד, אנחנו עכשיו. רוצים קצת לאכול.
Say that we now want to eat something.
יביאו ארוחה.
They'll bring a meal.
כל אחד יתחיל לאכול.
We'll all start eating.
כמה שיותר אוכל, פחות רוצה.
But the more we eat, the less we want.
ופחות נהנה.
And less enjoy.
ויש עוד הרבה יכול להיות דברים טובים על שולחן, וכבר אין רצון.
Perhaps we'll still have tons of good food on the table, but no desire to eat it anymore.
זאת אומרת, תענוג נפסק, הוא לא נצחי.
So the pleasure stops. It can't last.
וכך אנחנו רואים בכל דבר. רצים אחרי משהו, רוצים משהו, מגיעים תוך כמה דקות, ימים, אולי שבועות, זה נעלם.
And that's how it is with everything. We want something, we chase it for perhaps years, but once we have it, within hours or days or perhaps weeks, it's gone.
זאת אומרת, תענוג שממלא את הרצון, הוא מכבה את הרצון, מבטל אותו.
So the same pleasure that fulfills the desire also quenches it.
אבל איך בכל זאת לקבל תענוג, וכל פעם עוד ועוד ועוד ליהנות?
So how do we receive pleasure and at the same time keep enjoying
ללא הפסקה.
endlessly?
כי אז הרגשה הזאת ללא הפסקה, היא תהיה הרגשת החיים נצחיים.
Because this endless sensation will also be the sensation of eternal life.
ואז היכולת להגיע לזה, היא מושגת רק על ידי זה,
So the ability to reach it is attainable only through
אם אנחנו מנתקים התא הזאת לשני חלקים.
only if we divide this unit into two parts.
שיש כאן מישהו שאני נהנה בגלל שהוא נהנה.
There has to be someone else out there, and that I enjoy because he enjoys.
שכאילו תענוג עובר דרכי אליו.
So it's as if the pleasure goes through me toward him.
אז אני לא מתחבא.
And that doesn't put me out.
כי תמיד התענוג שלי נמצא כאן.
Because my pleasure is always there.
כמו אימא שנהנית כל הזמן בתינוק.
Like a mother who enjoys her baby.
מסוגלת כל הזמן לתת לו.
She can give it endlessly.
If you recognize yourself as part of the whole, of course.
אם אתה רואה את עצמך כחלק מהכלל, אז ודאי.
יופי, זהו. זאת המטרה. למה אנחנו צריכים לעבור שבירה ולהתחבות בחזרה?
That's why we have to break and reunite.
Yeah, to learn the physics of the lower level.
כדי ללמוד את הפיזיקה של הרמה הנמוכה יותר.
And then to go back across the line and learn the physics of the higher level.
כן, ואז כאילו ללמוד את הרמה יותר גבוהה
כן, איך אנחנו לומדים את השני רמות?
So how do we learn both levels?
אם אנחנו, אלו שבאמת מרגישים מתוך הלב, מנקודה שבלב, רצון לחזור באמת לרוחניות ולחוש אותו.
If we, that is those who feel through the point in the heart, the desire for spirituality, for the upper state, and want to go back there.
מתחילים ללמוד על מצב שלנו כאן.
If we begin to study about our situation up there.
שזה נקרא באמת חוכמת הקבלה.
And this is actually the wisdom of Kabbalah.
אז אנחנו לומדים על מה שאנחנו נמצאים כאן.
So we learn about our situation there.
במצב הזה.
In that state.
ואנחנו באמת גם עכשיו נמצאים במצב הזה.
Which is in fact our situation
רק
even
לא
now.
בהרגשה שלנו.
But not consciously.
אבל בזה שאנחנו רוצים מתוך המצב האטום להתעורר ולהרגיש מצב האמיתי.
But by wanting to come out of that blocked situation into the realization of the actual situation.
אם אנחנו לומדים על המצב שלנו הנכון,
if we learn about our correct situation,
אנחנו מושכים עלינו אותו כאילו משקיעים עלינו אור שנמצא שם.
It's as if we draw on ourselves the force or the light that is up there.
כי אני נמצא בעולם הזה,
Because I'm already there
במצב
in
הזה,
this world, in that state,
רק לא בהכרה שלי.
but not consciously.
אבל אם אני משקיע כוחות כדי להגיע להכרה,
But if I make an effort to become conscious of it, to awaken,
הרצון שלי, הדחף שלי, הוא פותח לי את הכלים הנוספים.
my desire opens up the additional vessels.
ואז מתחילים להרגיש את הרוחניות.
And then we begin to feel spirituality.
מה זאת אומרת? מתחילים להרגיש איך אנחנו קשורים זה עם זה.
We begin to feel how we're all interconnected
ואז
as
זורם
one body.
דרך כל אחד ואחד אור אינסופי.
And through each and every one of
ללא שום
us,
הגבלה וללא הפסקה.
the infinite light flows endlessly and without any limitations.
וכל הצרות שאנחנו מרגישים היום בעולם,
And all the troubles that we
זה
feel
רק
in the world
לחייב את
today
האנושות להתחיל לחזור.
are only in order to compel humanity to start going back up.
And that's also a higher thermodynamic free energy per unit volume state.
וזה
So,
גם לאיזשהו
I'm
מצב
sorry to
יותר גבוה
inject
של
that, but-
תרמודינמיקה.
Could you repeat that?
it's a higher thermodynamic free energy per unit volume state. And the universe flows
היקום זורם
usually to lower the free energy per unit
בדרך
volume
כלל
through process after process after process.
דווקא לצמצם את
But when
האנרגיה.
consciousness comes in,
אבל כשנכנסת המודעות,
rather than getting just increase of entropy, you get decrease of entropy,
במקום להגדיל את האנטרופיה,
increase of potential, and the thermodynamic free energy goes back to storage.
ואז רמת
In the whole.
האנרגיה החופשייה עולה.
And-
You just said excellent.
Yeah, I think that's exactly
Beautiful.
what's happening now. Yes, we're at that turning point. But I tend to ask a question,
יש לי שאלה.
which is, I have a feeling that this outbreathing and in-breathing state of the all
יש לי
is a large-scale natural process.
שהמצב הזה בעצם איזשהו תהליך טבעי. כל מיני
אין כאן שום התערבות, איפה הבחירה חופשית?
So you're asking where's the free choice?
No, it isn't a question of free choice. It is that process, I think our free choice can make it slow or fast.
אני חושב שהבחירה החופשית שלנו יכולה להאיץ או להאט את התהליך.
But it's a process that's required by the Creator.
אבל התהליך הזה, כאילו, הבורא, כאילו, עושה אותו.
כל התהליך הוא חתום מההתחלה עד הסוף.
The whole process is sealed from beginning to
כל
end.
הצעדים שלו מההתחלה ועד
All the
הסוף, כולם
steps from beginning to
נמצאים
end
ומודדים.
I would agree.
are already there and measured.
לכל אחד מאיתנו יש גן רוחני,
We all have that spiritual
שבו
gene
כמו בספירלה יש כל המצבים העתידים,
containing, like in a spiral, all the future situations,
ועל ידי האור הם מתפתחים,
and they evolve through the light.
ואנחנו עוברים ממצב למצב.
And thus we go from state to
אנחנו רק
state.
יכולים לקצר את הדרך.
And as
וזה להבין שכדאי לנו לעלות,
We can only
ואז
shorten the
לא
way by
לסבול.
understanding that it is in our interest
וברגע
to rise.
שאנחנו רוצים לעלות ומושכים על עצמנו אור,
And the minute we want to rise and draw the light,
אז כבר חווים שאנחנו נמצאים.
then we already experience being in spirituality.
Okay, I mean, I basically agree with the general flow picture,
תרשים זרימה הכללי.
and that so it is a process,
אז
and
זה תהליך.
we're not conscious enough to know
אנחנו פשוט לא מספיק מודעים
why the Creator
לדעת למה הבורא
itself needs or wants such a process.
רוצה בכלל תהליך כזה.
I know you mentioned the desire and such, and that is an aspect of love.
רצון, זה היבט של אהבה.
And love does seem to be the source of all creation.
ונראה שבאמת האהבה זה המקור של כל הבריאה.
But perhaps, well, maybe the question is not meaningful at our state.
אולי השאלה לא משמעותית כרגע במצב שלנו.
לא, אני אענה למה שקבלה אומרת.
No, he'll tell you what Kabbalah says.
אבל שישאלה לו.
You know, many people think that we've done bad things to get where we are
הרבה
and
אנשים חושבים
such.
שאנחנו במעשינו הרעים גרם למצבנו.
But
No, 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 no.
but it seems to be a natural process, and we basically are indestructible.
נראה שכאילו כל העסק הזה זה תהליך טבעי ואנחנו בעצם
אדם
אי אפשר
לא
להשמיד
עושה
אותו.
שום דבר רע.
People don't do anything bad.
Yeah, I agree.
לא.
And so the issue is
אז השאלה היא,
indeed, as during the outbreathing stage, from the
בשלב
total,
הירידה,
from being whole totally whole,
מהשלם המוחלט,
and going to lower and lower levels
תוך כדי ירידה,
is an experience
זה חוויה של
of having a capacity without having had to learn it.
שבה יש לנו כאילו איזשהו מצב בלי שהיינו צריכים ללמוד עליו.
And when you get down to the lowest level
וכשאתה יורד לרמה הכי נמוכה,
and you start to muck around in that level,
ואתה מתחיל שם להסתובב ברמה הזאת,
you learn about that level.
אתה לומד על הרמה הזאת,
And then you begin to seek
ואז אתה
higher
מתחיל
aspects.
לחפש היבטים
And
יותר
you,
גבוהים.
and in the process it was designed
ובתהליך
to have the in-breathing stage of moving back to the source.
הוא נוצר כך שיהיה התהליך של העלייה חזרה למקור.
And then learning the details, the quantitative details
ואז לימוד הפרטים
of each step
של כל צעד
on the road back,
בדרך למעלה,
so that when all come back
כך שכשכולם
to
חוזרים
the whole,
לשלם,
it has all of this knowledge in
יש שם
detail.
את כל הפרטי מידע האלה.
And so the Creator,
ואז הבורא,
I think, ultimately I have a feeling it has more than it had before it started the down process.
ואז יוצא כאילו ש...
Like a spiral, like an expanding
ואז
spiral.
יוצא כאילו שיש שם יותר מה שהיה שם קודם.
אני מתחיל לכבד פיזיקה. כמו קבלה.
He's beginning to respect physics more than Kabbalah.
זה מצוין.
They go together. They go together. I mean, and that's our path. I mean, it is the issue of learning the
זאת
details,
הדרך שלנו, כאילו, לימוד הפרטים.
arguing the models, finding proof for expanded models.
האמת שאותם החוקים נמצאים גם בחלק הנמוך ביותר וגם בחלק הגבוה.
Actually, the laws are the same in the lowest parts and the highest part of creation.
הכל זה תלוי מהתבוננות.
As above, so below. I mean, I agree that it is the interpretation that is different. For example,
פשוט הפירוש הוא שונה.
down at this lower level,
למשל ברמה הזאת הנמוכה,
it is electromagnetism that really determines life.
אלקטרומגנטיות שמגדירה.
And the mathematics is what we all learn in school. It's called Abelian
זה מה
mathematics.
שמתמטיקה של בליאן.
But when you cross that line,
אבל כשאתה עובר את הקו הזה,
now you have a higher level of electromagnetic interactions.
רמה גבוהה יותר של אלקטרו...
And the mathematics is not Abelian. And most of us don't learn that in school.
אבל לעבור את הקו הזה חייבים כבר להפוך את הכוונה משנאה לזולת לאהבה לזולת.
The thing is that in that line you already have to invert the intention from unfounded hatred to unfounded love.
Well, I would agree. I mean, I feel that that's very much involved. Certainly as we make these devices with consciousness in them. It is love that drives the consciousness for that purpose.
שדוחפת את המודעות.
But I only raise this point because
אבל אני רק אומר את זה כי
although as above, so below,
למרות שזה למעלה כפי
the
שזה
models
למטה,
are similar.
המודלים דומים.
They can differ terribly importantly in detail.
למרות שהמודלים דומים, הם שונים מאוד מאוד בפרטים שלהם.
And new energies enter, I mean, we have four physical forces at this lower level.
פה ברמה הנמוכה יש לנו 4 כוחות פיזיים.
Many new ones must come in as you cross that line.
הרבה כוחות חדשים חייבים להיכנס ברגע שאתה חוצה את הקו.
And so the details of their interactions
אז הפרטים של האינטראקציות שלהם
become very, very important.
נושאים מאוד חשובים.
God is in the
אני
details.
מוכן, לא כאן המקום, אבל אני הייתי מוכן
This is not the place, but
להסביר כל המכניקה מה שיש כאן.
I'd be willing to explain the whole mechanism, the mechanics of what happens above the barrier,
עד הפרטים.
forces and irregularities.
Can I ask just a couple of small questions? They're maybe detailed, just details.
כמה שאלות קטנות, אולי לגבי פרטים.
And I'll make a reference to another Jewish writer.
אני אתייחס לכותב יהודי אחר.
The Ramchal talks about the world having a deterministic and an indeterministic component.
על זה שיש לו רכיב דטרמיניסטי ולא דטרמיניסטי.
And also about some human beings just
זה שיש אנשים
having no place whatsoever,
שאין להם כאילו מקום.
because of how they conduct their lives, and eventually being destroyed entirely.
איך שהם מנהלים את חייהם, בסופו של דבר הם לגמרי מושמדים.
And I'm referencing that from his book, Derech Hashem.
אני מתייחס לספרו דרך השם.
So, is that congruent with this, and if so, how?
האם זה מתאים למה שאתה אומר, ואם כן, באיזה צורה?
רמח"ל היה לא הרבה מקובלים הגדולים ביותר שבתהליך ההיסטורי.
רמח"ל was one of the greatest Kabbalists in the historic process.
במיוחד כמורה.
Especially as a teacher.
גם כן סבל מזה הרבה.
He also suffered a lot because of that.
הוא היה מלמד קבלה ובגלל זה סבל.
He used to teach Kabbalah, and that's why he suffered.
זרקו אותו מעיר.
He was thrown out of his town.
עשו עליו חרם.
He was boycotted.
וברח מאיטליה, איפה שהוא היה גר.
He escaped Italy.
להולנד, לגרמניה.
He went to live in Netherlands, in Germany.
אני מכיר אותו טוב מאוד, ולמדתי גם כן, וחוץ מדרך השם.
Him very well. Besides the book דרך השם,
מה שהוא כותב.
I learned other writings of his.
דרך השם.
דרך השם.
זה דרך של 10 ספירות.
Is דרך his path. So it's a path of 10 ספירות.
שכל הסולם הרוחני מתחלק ל10 חלקים.
The entire spiritual ladder is divided into 10 parts.
ואפילו חלק הראשון שבסולם הזה,
even the lowest and the first part of this ladder,
הוא כבר נמצא מעל המחסום.
is already above the barrier.
זאת אומרת שהאדם נמצא במצב, החלק הראשון כבר, שנמצא במצב עובר.
It's when a person is in an embryonic state.
מה זה אמבריוניק?
What's an embryonic state?
כמו שהעובר בתוך האימא הוא מבוטל לגמרי מתפקוד עצמית.
Just like the embryo in its mother's womb has no functions of its own.
וכל העבודה וכל הקיום מצד האימא.
And all its sustenance comes from the mother.
האדם שעובר מעל המחסום נכנס לאותו תפקוד כלפי רוחניות.
A person who crosses the מחסום, the barrier, begins to be in the same functioning.
הוא מבטל לגמרי את האגו שלו.
He completely annuls his ego.
ומוכן שיעשו ממנו הכל.
And he's just willing to be subject to everything, whatever the upper forces.
הוא נכנס לאור העליון כמו עובר.
He just goes into the upper light like an embryo.
זה דרגה הראשונה שהרמח"ל מדבר.
That's the very first degree that Ramchal talks about.
והיתר זה עוד יותר.
And the rest are higher.
זאת אומרת שאחרי שהוא ביטל לגמרי את עצמו, הוא מתחיל לגדל כוונה שלו לתת.
So after having annulled oneself completely, one begins to grow, to nurture one's intention to give.
לפני זה, בזמן שהוא בר, הוא צריך להיות 9 מדרגות שנקראות 9 ערכי לידה.
While being in an embryonic state, one has to go through 9 degrees of that state, called 9 months of conception.
שבהם הוא כל הזמן מבטל האגו שלו, רצון לקבל שלו, שכל הזמן עולה.
In which one continuously annuls one's ego, which in turn constantly grows.
זאת אומרת, זה אדם כמונו, שמגיע למצב שמוכן לוותר על האגו שלו.
So it is an ordinary person who comes to a state of being willing to completely revoke his own ego.
הוא מוכן לוותר על האגו שלו כלפי העולם הזה.
With respect to this world.
כלפי העולם הזה. כלפי כל מה שיש בעולם הזה.
Everything here in this world.
ואז זה התנאי שהוא עובר את המחסום.
That's the condition for crossing the מחסום.
הוא עובר דרך ממברנה הזאת לעולם האנטי עולם.
he goes through this membrane into an anti-world.
ואז הוא מתחיל לקבל תוספת רצון כל הזמן.
And then he gets additional desires all the time.
עד אז שהוא היה כאן בעולם הזה,
While being
היו לו
here,
רצונות כמו שדיברנו, כסף, כבוד, מושכלות, כל מה שיש בעולם הזה.
while being here in this world, he had desires just like we mentioned before, money, honor, knowledge. And
עכשיו הוא מתחיל לקבל כל פעם רצונות יותר גדולים, יותר גדולים, יותר גדולים.
now he constantly acquires greater and greater desires,
רצונות ליהנות מהבורא.
desires to take pleasure in the Creator.
הבורא מתגלה אליו.
The Creator manifests.
בעולם שלנו הבורא נסתר.
In our world, the Creator is concealed.
וכאן הוא מתחיל להתגלות.
But here, he begins to appear.
והאדם צריך לשמור על עצמו כדי לא לבלוע אותו, לא ליהנות ממנו.
And one has to keep oneself from swallowing the Creator, from devouring.
זאת אומרת שלא לקבל מהבורא, אלא על זה שלתת לו בחזרה.
In other words, not receive from the Creator, but continuously give back to Him.
ואז כך הוא גודל 9 ספירות.
And this is how one grows through the 9 sfirot.
עד ספירה העשירית,
Up to the 9.
שמתחיל להיות,
ספירה.
אז נולד.
And then there is a state of birth.
הדרגות האלו שהוא עובר כאן, זה דרגות סך הכל ההתחלתיות.
These degrees are the preliminary degrees.
כמו שאנחנו לא סופרים חיים של אדם לפני הלידה שלו.
Just like we don't count one's life before he's born,
אלא רק מיום שנולד.
but only after he's born.
אז הוא, מה נעשה איתו כאן?
So what
הבורא
happens here?
התגלה עליו כולו,
The Creator appears entirely, completely.
ואדם עשה עליו מסך.
And the person puts something called a masach, a screen, over him,
לא רוצה לקבל ממנו, לא רוצה ליהנות ממנו.
not wanting to take any pleasure from him.
אחרי זה מתחיל להיות שלב הבא,
Then begins the next phase
בהתפתחות הרוחנית של האדם,
in one's spiritual evolution,
שהוא מתחיל לגדל רצון להשפיע, לתת.
when one begins to nurture and increase the desire to give.
ואז גם כן כאן יש דרגות, מאיפה יש דרגות?
So here too there are degrees, but where do they come from?
שהבורא נותן לו רצון יותר גדול,
It's
וזה שמתגלה כתענוג יותר גדול.
It's the Creator giving him a greater and greater desire. How? By appearing more and more.
והאדם כבר לא סתם דוחה את הבורא, הוא על פני זה רוצה לתת לו, להחזיר לו.
And then a person doesn't just reject the Creator, but wants to give back to him.
אבל זה דומה למצב כמו במצב 2, אתם זוכרים?
This is like
שהוא
stage
רק
2
רוצה לתת, אין לו עדיין מה לתת.
of only wanting to give without actually having anything to give.
זה נקרא זמן קטנות.
That,
כבר לא עובר כמו ילד.
that state is called kaknut, infancy, like a child.
אחרי שהוא גמר את זה,
After he completes it,
גמר עם הילדות שלו.
it's as though he's finished with his childhood.
זאת אומרת, הוא רוצה הכל לתת לבורא.
So now he wants to give everything
רק
to
אין לו
the
מה.
Creator, but he has nothing to give.
זה נקרא קטן ברוחניות.
That's a state of smallness or infancy in spirituality.
הרמה הזאת נקראת תחיית המתים.
That level is called the revival of the dead.
שעכשיו מתחיל הוא לעבוד במצב שהוא מקבל בשביל לתת.
Now one begins to work by way of receiving in order to give.
בא אליו תענוג, הוא מודד כמה אפשר לקבל ומקבל.
A certain pleasure comes to me, I measure how much of it I can receive, and that I receive.
למה זה נקרא תחיית המתים?
But why is it called revival of the dead?
שפעם הוא לא רצה לעבוד עם הרצון לקבל שלו,
Because in the past I did not want to work with my will to receive,
והתחרט מהם כאילו שהם מתים. לא ראויים לחיים הרוחניים.
I related to it as if it is something dead, unfit for living,
רוחניים.
for spiritual living.
ועכשיו הוא מחיה אותם בחזרה.
And now I revive it.
זה נקרא תחיית חיים.
That's why it's called revival of the dead.
מחיה אותם בחזרה, מתחיל להשתמש בהם שוב.
I begin to reuse them.
ואז משתמש בהם בכל במלואם, בכל הרצון לקבל שלו האגואיסטי ביותר, אבל עם כוונה כבר על מנת להחזיר לבורא.
And now I use all of it again, all my desires, the most egoistic desires, but now it's with the intention to give to the Creator.
כל המצבים האלו הם סך הכל 5 חלקים גדולים שנקראים 5 עולמות.
All these situations are generally called 5 worlds.
כפול 5 חלקים שבכל העולם.
Times 5 inner states
פרצופים.
called partsufim.
וכפול 5 ספירות, חלקים שבכל פרצוף.
Times 5 ספירות, which are the parts in each individual partsuf. All in all, we have 5 to the power of 3 to 125 degrees.
וזה שאדם צריך לעבור.
And that's what one has to go through. One has to.
אפשר להגיד אחרת.
You might put it differently.
שהכלי שלנו, כללי, כולו מתקן ב-125 שכבות, אבל כולה.
Our kli, our vessel, is corrected through 125 layers.
זאת אומרת שהכלי הזה, אני פשוט מתקן אותו, ועוד מתקן אותו, ועוד מתקן אותו.
Meaning I correct my kli
אבל
more and
מתקן כל
more
פעם
and
כולו,
more.
רק תלוי לאיזה אביות, לאיזה עובי, לאיזה עומק.
I correct all of it every time, but on varying levels of depth.
זה תלוי איזה אור מאיר ובכמה אני מבין בפנים לאגו שלי.
Depending on the light that shines into the vessel and how much I see into my own ego.
וככה זה מתקדם.
And that's how one advances.
אז אני לא יכול לדבר על הרמח"ל, אלא אם כן במונחים כאלו. ולא שאיך לומדים אותו בלי קבלה.
That's the only way that I can talk about Ramchal, not how people study him regardless of Kabbalah.
ואם רוצה, נשמח לעיין בזה יותר.
If you want, she'll be delighted to
אני מכיר אותו טוב.
delve deeper into that. He knows it very well.
Would it be useful at all, since you've brought us all together here from different walks of life, different ways of thinking, to try to relate what we understand from Kabbalah with our particular interest, quantum physics or medicine or Bill Tiller's remarkable work or
מועיל לשלב או לנסות לאחד את התחומי ידע שלנו עם הקבלה?
Bill has been commenting on your work and relating it to his own work, which I think is a good thing to do. I think it opens up some doors. And I don't know if you would like those doors open any further or which would require maybe each of us saying more, and you want to wait for the evening to do that. I just want to know what you want to do with this. Now, I appreciate what you've given me.
אני ראיתי בסרט שאתם כולם דואגים למצב של העולם.
In the feature that all of you guys are concerned with the state of being,
לא חשוב מה המקצוע של כל אחד.
regardless of your different professions.
גם אני מצטרף אליכם.
He's the same. He joins you in that.
אם אנחנו יכולים באיזשהו שילוב לעשות משהו, אני אשמח מאוד.
If we can do something
כל
together,
החיים שלי לזה, וכל מה שיש לי, כל העוצמת האמצעים, מה שיש לנו.
everything he has, every means, everything we have.
לי לא חשוב באיזה צורה, אני גם כן לא יודע.
He doesn't
אני,
care how. or-
אני מסביר לכם מה שאני יודע בקבלה,
He's just explaining what he
ואולי
knows in
אנחנו
Kabbalah.
נדבר על זה הלאה.
Clearly, you know your stuff, there's no question,
אין
and
ספק
I
שאתה
would
יודע
learn,
את המקצוע שלך.
I would learn, I'd love to sit at your feet for a long time.
הייתי רוצה לשבת לרגליך.
It would be very useful, it would help me tremendously, and I have no question about it. But now my concern here is the rest of the world.
עכשיו אני חושב...
That's the main question we have. What we're hoping
So, yeah.
that you can really
So-
help us on what was through education,
Yes,
through
that's right, that's
how
right.
do we get there?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say, that's what I'm trying to say.
תגיד קצת על חיים, הוא לא דיבר עליו.
No, Rav has asked me to say a few words about Mike. Mike is a perfect example of what happens to a person after a few years of
אחד מהתלמידים
studying
המובהקים
Kabbalah.
שלי,
He is one of Rav's more better students.
יש עוד הרבה כאלה באמריקה, אבל הוא מיוחד.
There are many
אחד מדוגמאות.
other students, but he's just a perfect example of how a person advances through studying Kabbalah.
נו, בבקשה, פשוט שידעו.
Now, what do you want to say?
You're exactly right.
No, that's okay.
We're in a situation here
אנחנו פה במצב.
where we realize how critical it is. You see, even though you're exactly correct that you cannot change what's going to happen, you can change how much pain you're going to have to go through before you get there. That is what, basically by changing the velocity. How? It only happens through awareness. That's what changes the velocity. The more that are aware, the more it increases,
Yes.
leaving the pains behind instead. What we want is to facilitate that. That's all. That's it. Is it best through
Education and work.
academia? Is that it? Is it through, should we approach through, you know, we have 200 million, you know.
Yeah, let's be careful. The issue, I mean, academia, if one could really, we had this argument before, I think the establishment science community is stuck, terribly stuck in space-time. And it's going to take something very special to get them unstuck. So, and academia can really not afford to do a lot of things that have been anathema to academics for a long time, such as this area of psychoenergetics, and I suspect Kabbalah in its true sense. And so the answer is there. And the same thing with respect to the funding. That's given by the government in this country largely, and they can't afford to give money to this kind of work because the people they serve, to them it's anathema, and they're in the universities, and to them it's anathema relative to their funders, and so the government won't do it. And so it seems only the general populace and the few philanthropists around can fund such work to move forward. Yes.
What I was going to suggest is something like this. I don't know if this is useful or not. You all have to tell me. Part of the thing that I have been doing is integrating ideas from Kabbalah with quantum physics. And I've actually written about these. And I see certain metaphorical tie-ins, which, compared to what you do, is very simplistic. Maybe it would be useful, maybe not. I don't want to bore you or anybody else, but I'm willing to share some of this idea if you think it'd be useful. It actually fits in nicely with Bill's own work, as I heard him talk, and I think it fits in very well with your work, and it's a little simpler, and maybe people can get it, I don't know. It relates to quantum physics as well.
אני אשמח מאוד ולכבוד גדול לי לעשות איתם איזשהו עבודות משותפות.
הוא רוצה עכשיו להציג את זה.
בעולם האקדמי ובחוץ
He'll be
ממנו.
honored to do any kind of work together with you, with all of you.
זה כבוד גדול לי.
First of all, it's a great honor for him.
כי שמות שלהם במעמד שלהם יכול לעזור להתקדמות של הפצת החומת הקבלה וסך הכל להכיר עם כל העולם.
And because, first of all, your names, your reputation, your status can also tremendously help the circulation of Kabbalah and thus help the world.
אז אני פנוי לכל מה שיכולים לעשות.
So he's open to any kind of suggestion.
יש לנו אפשרות לעשות סרטים,
It can be various kinds of films, features, or
אנחנו מדפיסים ספרים,
books.
אנחנו עושים DVD, כל.
Well, I was referring to something in the immediate
אנחנו
now.
נשיג
הוא
מימון.
מתכוון לעכשיו, לכרגע.
כן. גם עכשיו, בבקשה.
Okay.
Even now, yes.
Okay, so may I take about maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10, to outline a couple of ideas
אז אם
for
תיתן לי
you?
15 דקות כדי להסביר כמה רעיונות.
אני?
Yes?
למה את זה?
Now, if this is, if you find this doesn't agree, I want to hear your wise viewpoint here, but
אם
let
אתה
me
חושב שאתה לא מסכים, אז
begin.
תגיד לי.
We begin with Aleph, the rabbi lied.
אנחנו מתחילים באלף.
We begin with Aleph, the rabbi lied.
הרב שיקר.
איך? מה הרב שיקר?
אנחנו מתחילים באלף, הרב שיקר. זה מה שהוא אמר.
Lied, right? He understands.
נו.
Then there is something called mem,
ואז יש משהו שנקרא מם.
כן.
okay? And then there's something called sheen.
ויש משהו שנקרא שין.
I don't know how to draw my sheens anymore.
אני לא יודע איך לצייר את השין שלי.
It's actually this, I think.
לא חשוב.
Okay. And then there's seen.
ואז יש גם סין.
I think sheen is
Right.
on the left and seen
It's actually the opposite.
The other way.
okay, on the left and then on the right. Right? Is that it?
On the left is a sin, and on the right,
This is seen,
yeah, right.
and this is sheen.
Yeah, if you erase the dot on the
All right,
left.
forget the dots. I get my dots mixed up. I'm terrible. I get my dots all wrong. Okay.
בקיצור, אני לא יודע את הנקודות, אבל
Now,
צד
here
שמאל זה
is,
סין, צד ימין שין.
this is spirit, if
זה
you will.
רוח,
This is water,
זה מים,
or consciousness,
או
with this unconscious.
שזה בלתי מודע,
And this is sheen. This is the breath of God. This
שזה
is
נשמת האל.
what is called Ruach Elohim. Ruach Elohim, and this is also Ruach Elohim, but this is different from this.
אבל זה שונה מזה.
And
הרוח
this
הזאת
big
מהרוח.
difference is what's important.
וההבדל הוא מה שחשוב פה.
ההבדל מאוד משמעותי.
It's a significant
Okay,
difference.
very big difference.
הבדל גדול.
Very big difference. Now this is what I've understood from very simple Kabbalah.
זה מה שאני הבנתי מקבלה מאוד.
This is the builds out breath in breath.
זה העניין של הנשימה.
It is also very reminiscent to what we do in quantum physics.
זה גם קשור למה שאנחנו עושים בפיזיקה
We
קוונטית.
talk about the probability of something being
האפשרות של משהו,
related to
הסתברות
a
שלו,
wave function times its complex conjugate wave function.
להיות קשור לפונקציות הגל שלו, כפול...
Psi star is in a way like this, and psi is like this.
So they differ only in phase angle?
No, the psi star is a time reversal of psi, or a space and time reversal of psi.
But it's a
It is
phase.
a phase reversal, certainly,
Right,
but it's a
in
complete
reciprocal
phase.
space.
What?
Yeah, in reciprocal space.
And in quantum mechanics, we can't do quantum mechanics. We can't do it without both.
אנחנו לא יכולים לעשות את זה בלי שני הצדדים, שני הדברים האלה.
This is unobserved by itself.
זה אי אפשר לראות את זה בפני עצמו.
כי זה לפנינו.
Can't see it,
Before
like
us.
the breath of God. The sheen, the psi, the movement,
התנועה,
we don't see it.
We
We
don't
don't
have
see this
tools.
either.
אנחנו גם לא רואים את זה.
But together,
אבל ביחד,
we get the possibilities
יש לנו
of tangible realities coming
אפשרות
into
למציאות
being.
מוחשית שמתרחשת.
נכון.
They're becoming material almost.
אנחנו קיימים ומרגישים רק בחיבור ביניהם.
We exist and feel only through the conjunction. of the
Aha! There must be the complete cycle.
חייב להיות המעגל השלם.
So this is quantum mechanics.
אז זה מכניקת קוונטים.
נו.
Really? And all the rest is commentary
כל השאר זה פרשנות, הערות.
on how to work with all of this. But this is the basis of it.
אבל זה הבסיס.
What it means, the psi, what it means, it could mean potential for all kinds of for different
יכול
realities.
להיות פוטנציאל לכל מיני מציאויות,
But until there's this,
אבל עד
There's
שיש
nothing.
את המצב הזה, לפני כן אין שום דבר.
now it looks to me like this is where Kabbalah and
נראה לי
quantum mechanics
שפה קבלה
have something simple but coming together.
ומכניקת הקוונטים יש להם משהו שהוא אומנם פשוט, אבל הוא מתאחד.
So, what is this? What is this?
אז מה זה ומה
מלכות
זה?
וכתר.
מלכות עם כתר.
What is this?
מלכות.
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 Malchut?
מלכות.
And this is
כתר.
Keter.
זה מצב של הבורא, זה מצב של
That's the state of the creator, that's the state of the creature.
Is it source and sink?
Yeah, right. And in Kabbalah, we learn that this is spirit. We also learn that this is
בקבלה
resistance.
אנחנו לומדים שזה רוח
Resistance.
וזה התנגדות.
כן?
And like Tav is the final resistance, 400. This is 40.
זה
All the
40.
fours are resistance. Dalit,
כל הארבע
Mem,
התנגדויות. ד'
Tav,
ותו.
resistance. That which, and Tav, the final resistance, the last letter, is a mystery like Aleph.
זה
א' זה אלופו של עולם, תגיד לו. זה...
א' is
אור של
אלופו של
הבורא.
העולם, the champion of the world, that's the letter of the
It's the
creator.
silent letter of which no one could say.
אותה שקטה, אף אחד לא יכול להגיד אותה.
So Aleph is in everything, but it's in nothing because you can't pronounce it.
א' זה כאילו
All
בכל
words
מקום,
are
זה
Aleph.
כלום, כי אתה לא יכול...
כן, כי העולם נברא בעוד ב', בעוד שנייה.
Yes, because the world was created in the second letter, in
And in
bet.
quantum mechanics, the source of this wave,
המקור של הגל הזה,
no source, it just is.
הוא פשוט ישנו, אין מקור.
In electromagnetic theories, as Bill has talked about, there is always a source. There is a charge, and that produces electromagnetic waves.
זה יוצר גלים אלקטרומגנטיים.
Move it, and so there's a source. But for the wave function, the quantum wave, the quantum, no source.
במכניקת קוונטים אין מקור.
Or it's the source is Aleph, which is like. So
אבל הוא תלוי בפי. פי זה צופה.
It depends on the P,
P is probability.
which
The
I said it's
multiplication.
the observer.
What? This is where the observer comes in. Yes,
כן, זה איפה
absolutely.
שהאובזרבר נכנס.
Absolutely. Without the observer, this doesn't happen.
בלי הצופה זה לא קורה הדבר הזה.
See, people have tried to explain this, and there are many interpretations of quantum physics, and there are like 25 of them now.
אני יכול לצרף לזה הסברים שלנו, בעמקות מה שתגיד.
Add our explanations on any level of depth that you want.
Yes.
אני יכול גם כן להסביר את הדברים האלה בדרגת דומם או צומח או
You
חי
can
או
also
מדבר.
explain these things on the level of still or vegetative or animate or
Absolutely.
speaking or
Absolutely, because the ultimate goal
כן, כי המטרה הסופית
is of course the same.
היא
Is
אותו דבר.
we think quantum mechanics and maybe a super quantum mechanics Bill is so
מכניקת קוונטים.
working on.
מה ש-
We believe that quantum mechanics is a necessary first step. It's our baby step into the spiritual world.
זה הצעד הראשון למרוחני.
So I think this, to me, this is the simplest way. There are of course many things that could be added to this. It's not the final, but this is the groundwork.
אבל זה הבסיס.
That's all I wanted to
אני
say.
כאן בעל המוכן עליך.
No problem. He can go on from there.
That's all.
With the public lecture coming up tonight, and some of these things possibly
היום,
being discussed,
וחלק מהדברים שאולי נדון בהם,
and I hope that there are people in the audience who are sufficiently educated
הקהל
about
שהם מספיק משכילים לגבי
modern physical theory,
תיאוריות פיזיקליות מודרניות,
and without wanting to take the role of Richard or of
ובלי לקחת
his first name?
תפקיד
Albert.
David Albert.
David Albert.
Sorry.
He was an objected.
I want to object
בקיצור,
because there isn't an
אני
object
לא רוצה
here.
להיות
And
נגד,
it-
Do you still want to raise that issue today?
It needs to be said. It needs to be
צריך
said.
להגיד, לא יודע, מישהו,
No, no,
דיוויד אלברט.
don't be so egocentric.
מישהו כנראה ש-
A lot of these things are just analogies.
הוא אומר, הרבה מהדברים שאתה אומר פה זה סתם אנלוגיות.
And I think it's very important
ולדעתי זה מאוד חשוב.
certainly anybody with a background in physics,
כל אחד שיש לו רקע בפיזיקה.
and approaching it maybe with an open mind, not
ויכול
like
להגיד
David
את זה
Albert
עם
did,
ראש פתוח, לא
but
כמו שדייוויד אלברט
with
עשה את זה.
legitimate scientific skepticism, is
אלא
going to notice that there's a huge
ספקנות
difference
מדעית,
between a kind
שיש
of
הבדל עצום
structural similarity
בין מבנה דומה
and a real connection
וקשר של ממש.
between
בין
quantum theory, certainly taken as a whole,
תיאוריה קוונטית,
or even certain elements of it,
או אפילו רק חלקים ממנה.
some aspects of which I'm convinced there is a connection, but I'll play the 100%
אני בטוח
skeptic.
שיש איזשהו קשר, אבל אני כרגע אשחק את תפקיד
Even
הספקן.
element by element, to make a convincing
כל אלמנט,
case,
כדי
it
שיהיה לך...
really needs to be demonstrated. And even Bill Tiller's work, which is
ואפילו העבודה של ביל טילר.
about which I think many people will be skeptical,
שאני
appropriately
חושב
skeptical,
שהרבה אנשים יטילו ספק
until
בהעבודה שלו.
confirmation is in and it's been replicated
עד
by independent labs and so on and so
שהוא יוכל
forth.
לחזור לניסויים שלו
Even his
ולהוכיח אותם.
work
אפילו העבודה
actually
שלו
stands outside of quantum theory
עומדת מחוץ לתיאוריית
and is
הקוונטית.
not part of quantum theory.
היא לא חלק
And
ממנה.
so a lay audience is very apt to come away thinking that a connection or a point of contact has been made
יחשוב שנוצר כבר
between this
קשר
most profound
בין
of Jewish wisdom
החוכמה היהודית
and
העמוקה כל כך
the most
הזאת,
profound physical theory that mankind has ever created.
הפיזיקלית
And I
הכי
think
עמוקה
that just
שהאנושות
overstates
יצרה.
the case.
אבל אני
If people
חושב
come away with that impression, it's
שזה
very
נכון.
easy for that impression to be made in the way that
אנחנו יכולים
comments
ליצור
have been
קשר
made so
הזה
far.
שכאילו נוצר,
Quantum is very
את
popular.
הרושם
Right.
שנוצר פה קשר, שבעצם לא נוצר פה, ולהטעות כך את הקהל.
בסדר, מה הוא ממליץ?
So what do you recommend?
Well, there was a point to my there was a dual point to my bringing up before
שתי נקודות לזה
the Ramchal's comment about determinism and
דיברתי על
indeterminism in the world.
דיברתי על דטרמיניזם וחוסר דטרמיניזם בעולם.
Because that's a relatively narrow formulation.
כי זה איזשהו...
It doesn't get into specific
צרה.
mathematical
זה לא
constructs.
נכנס לתוך איזשהו מודל מתמטי.
It's a formulation which is directly at odds with
זו צורה שהיא
the
לחלוטין
Cartesian
מנוגדת
worldview.
את הצורה, את השקפת העולם של דקארט.
הוא יכול להגיד לי בדיוק משפט ומה הוא רוצה ממני.
Can you like narrow it down to like one sentence and what exactly it is that you want of
I'm just using that as
יש איזושהי בעיה שאני אולי לא תפסתי מה הוא רוצה להגיד על רמח"ל.
because perhaps there's a problem that he is not getting with what you want to say about
על מה בדיוק הנקודה?
what exactly is
In other
the
words,
point?
the point that I'm trying to make is that if I know that certainly I, in speaking to a public audience about connections between
כשאני
quantum
מדבר עם קהל על
mechanics
קשר בין מכניקת קוונטים
and Kabbalah or any form of spirituality,
או כל סוג
would
שהוא
try to be very careful and
אני מאוד נזהר.
circumspect, especially to a lay audience.
אני מאוד נזהר במיוחד עם קהל בלתי משכיל.
אני בכלל לא מתייחס לקהל, תגיד לו.
He, well, actually, he has no regard for the audience.
אני גם כן לא הייתי בעד לעשות את הפאנל הזה.
He was not even in favor of having this panel, a public panel, to begin with.
לא, זה לא בשבילי לא חשוב בכלל.
For him, it's of no consequence, no importance.
אם אנחנו נוכל לכתוב עם פרד איזה מאמר יפה
If we can write
ולהראות-
a good article with Fred,
ולהראות
for example,
דברים המקבילים, פרללים,
and show the
זה
parallels
לזה.
between one and the other.
לא שזה אותו דבר, אבל בדומה,
Not that it's the
במקביל.
same, but the parallel parts of it or the
זה
similarities.
כבר מקדם משהו.
That in itself already promotes something.
לא צריכים להגיד שזה אותו דבר.
We don't have to say that it's the same.
אלא חשוב בשבילנו שיש השקפה דומה.
The important thing is that there's a similar perspective.
אולי במשהו משותף.
There's a barrier. I mean, I hear what Jeffrey is saying. The barrier is this thing that I feel. Psychoenergetic processes are indigenous to Kabbalah. They're not indigenous to present formalism of quantum mechanics. Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, the second part of what you said, I certainly agree with. The first part
Well,
is
when
a
you deal with
hypothesis.
but when you deal with humans, you're talking about psychoenergetic processes.
Well, I mean, as to whether that has to do with Kabbalah or not is...
Well, okay, that's a separate issue. I just presume that anything like what the Bleep movie, basically that's dealing with humans.
אני
And
פשוט
Kabbalah
מניח
deals with humans.
הסרט, כמו
And,
קבלה, מתעסק עם אנשים.
present quantum
לא
mechanics
עם
is
מדע.
limited. It
וכרגע,
cannot handle that, but it,
מכניקת קוונטית
in the
לא
future
מתעסקת
could.
עם זה, לא מתעסקת עם אנשים.
You know, if we do
אולי
our work
בעתיד
right.
תעשה את זה, אם נעשה את
We
העבודה כמו
could
שצריך.
take this particular point onto a different playing field, which might make
אפשר
it
לקחת
easier
את
to
זה
deal
למישור
with.
אחר.
One of the things we talked
אחד
about
הדברים
after
שאנחנו
Santa
דיברנו
Monica is
עליהם אחרי סנטה
there is
מוניקה,
a great
של הקונגרס,
potential to manipulate
הפוטנציאל
lay audiences by
להטעות אנשים.
people that are
בלתי
very
מושכלים.
expert in a variety of different
על
fields,
אנשים
whether it's
שהם
quantum
מומחים
mechanics or
גדולים בכל
spirituality
תחום,
or anything there.
קוונטית,
And each person has to look and see where that
כל
line
אדם
is
צריך
between
לראות איפה הקו
wanting to communicate
גבול.
this knowledge you've discovered to an audience,
בין מה
but
שאני
not
מעביר לקהל
using your expertise and your experience and your
להשתמש
innovativeness to manipulate them
בידע
into
שלי
believing something because you want them
לעשות
to believe
מניפולציות
it.
על הקהל.
So separate from whether or not Kabbalah
אז בנפרד
needs to be concerned with this
מהשאלה
audience,
אם צריך
I think the
להציג
four
קבלה
of you
לקהל,
could have an ethical concern for
אני
this
חושב
audience.
שלך צריך להיות
That,
איזשהו
that the messages you give
מחשבה
tonight, or
מוסרית
the
על
communication,
הקהל,
or
בקשר
participation,
למסר
or
שאתה תמסור
however you
לקהל.
describe this panel, isn't something that manipulates people that are easy to manipulate.
אז
Let me say something
הפאנל
about
של
this,
היום לא
because
יהיה כזה
I
שאתה עושה
hear you, Jeffrey,
מניפולציה.
and I'm with you. We're all academically
Yeah.
trained. We all been trained to be
Yeah, we want integrity.
to promote integrity
כולנו אקדמאים,
as much as
כולנו
possible.
הם מובנים בלשמור
Here's my but, or here's my concern.
אינטלקטואלית. מה שמטריד אותי,
People are being manipulated all the time. In fact, there's
שבכל
nothing
מקום מטעים אנשים
but
כל הזמן.
media manipulation going on in every single thing. There's no such thing as the news. There's not even scientific reporting that's accurate right now because everybody's got their little medical journals are being manipulated. Everybody's being manipulated.
עיתונים
Reports are being
רפואיים,
manipulated.
הכל זה הטעיות והטעיות.
If I'm to manipulate
אז
at
אם אני
all,
כבר אעשה
it's
הטעיה.
going to be unconscious on my part. I certainly am not going to do it consciously
לא, אני לא
because I
אעשה
cannot
בכוונה.
see myself as a
אני לא
conscious
יכול
manipulator
לראות את
trying to
עצמי
mold
כמניפולטור
thinking to
אחד.
believe something which I know in my
אנשים.
heart of hearts is not true.
שאני יודע
But
בלב
I
שלו.
can't help but be what I am
אבל
as a speaker,
אני נשאר
and
עם מה, אני יכול
things
לעשות.
are going to come out, and
דברים
it may rub you the wrong way.
זה אולי, זה לא נמצא
You can say something. This may be.
Yeah, maybe that's an important thing
And
to
it's
do.
very important that you
Certainly-
get up and say what you have to say. There's nothing.
Well, I said I would, but I'm also raising it as an actual point to be discussed right here. And that's why I said
Well,
it here as opposed to just saying it.
But I'm
And
saying
it's a
even
valid
right
point.
here.
And it's a valid point intellectually,
No,
not
it
just
is, it is. It is, definitely, I agree with you. But the point is, we can't, I don't think we should worry about it. And here's why I say we shouldn't worry about it. No, the point is, we can't help it anyway. We can't help it anyway. We're going to do it anyway, whether we unconsciously think we are or not. I mean, if you tell people that it's not this way,
שמשהו הוא לא
because you,
בצורה
in
מסוימת.
your heart of hearts, feel it's not their way.
כי אתה
Or if
מרגיש
Bill gets
ככה,
up and says, there's
או
another
מבין,
spectrum beyond
אומר,
the
יש
physical,
ספקטרום
and he
מעל
says that
הספקטרום
it is
הפיזי.
coming from his experience, whatever. Another guy sitting in the audience, who's an electromagnetic engineer, or whatever, doesn't know anything about that other spectrum that Bill's talking about, and is going to say, oh, it's all hogwash anyway.
אז
So you see,
אחר
the
כך
point
מישהו
is,
יגיד,
there's
מה
going to
שמדובר
be,
זה הכל שטויות.
whatever scientist says anything at all, there's going to be this kind of thing going on.
בכל מקרה,
And
יהיה
it's
מין
okay to
דבר
have
של מניפולציה.
somebody say, well, wait a minute, there's another way of looking at this, it's not quite that way. I think that's healthy, I think that's very, very good. But I don't think we should try to be so careful that everything we say is got to be, go through, I guess, the auspices of the American Physical Society's Board of Critiques.
Well,
before a
except there
word
isn't
comes out.
any representative of the American Physical Society
That's
here.
right.
Right.
I mean,
It
that's
doesn't
the
matter.
closest thing to it.
You
I would
are.
applaud it if
And that's
they- if
very
they
far
were.
away.
Yeah.
I know,
So-
I know, because you yourself are a bit
But
mad.
it's really good
But it's true.
to do that and to lay it out, just as I
Right.
wish, I will make the statement tonight
אני בכל
that
מקרה, אני-
present formulation of quantum mechanics is totally incapable
אני
of
אגיד
dealing
שפיזיקה
with
קוונטית
Kabbalah
היום,
at
אין
this
שום
present
אפשרות
point, but
בכלל
not
להתמודד
if
עם
we move forward and expand.
אלא אם כן אנחנו...
That'll be your point of view. You can say that.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to say that. I'll say something different. You're going to say something different. I don't think.
No,
I think it's good.
I was responding to the fact that
אני
you
הגבתי
said
לה-
literally
I didn't say literally.
This is
No, it
referring
is.
to the, yes, to that
He was drawing an
diagram.
analogy.
No,
This-
I didn't say
yes,
that.
then you said
אמרת שזה
it's an
כאילו פיזיקה.
analogy. Then you acknowledged it's an analogy.
No,
That's
I
not
was
the
trying, I
analogy.
said before I began, this is a metaphor, this is an, and you were listening, I began, even before I draw a
Yeah, he
drawing,
did.
say this is a metaphor and an analogy, and I generally try to do that. I don't try to.
The entire pop literature on the relationship between quantum mechanics and spirituality
Yeah.
is absolutely ridden with the assumption
Yeah.
that the mapping is one-to-one.
By
That's
people
quantum
that,
flapdoodle.
but by people that never studied quantum mechanics, just people that use the word quantum, but not.
But most of your audience
You-
isn't capable of studying.
I
quantum
understand
mechanics.
that.
I do feel that.
I understand that, but that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know how we can avoid that situation.
I think it's
Can we
very
stop?
simple. I think that David Albert went overboard in trying to provide a corrective, as was evidenced by
הלך
my
יותר
sort
מדי
of taking
רחוק.
the other side in that setting.
Yeah.
לנסות להציג
But
את האנטי.
I more or less sympathize with the intellectual
Can I make a point? here?
position that he
Yeah.
at least was trying
הפוזיציה שהוא
to
ניסה
assert.
להציג.
And I think that those of us who do know something
שיהיה
about
מאיתנו
the
שיודעים
actual physics here
משהו על פיזיקה
should
ממש,
be clearer about just how speculative
לגבי
and
להבין
also
כמה זה ספקולטיבי.
really bending over backwards to say that, that oftentimes these are analogies
אנחנו כל כך
and
מתאמצים
making a distinction
להראות
between
שזה רק
those
אנלוגיות.
circumstances where something very hard-nosed has been done. And there are certain points like that. I give this example of determinism and indeterminism. That's just a minor example. Bill's work, should it prove out, would be a huge example with the added subtlety that will be lost on most people, that is actually not
Jeffrey.
quantum mechanics.
It's kind of hard for me to follow you.
Okay, sorry.
But can I,
Trying to translate it.
can I say something relative to this, Jeffrey? I think it's really important what you're saying,
חשוב.
because for all of this to move forward,
בשביל שכל זה יכול
we
ללכת
must
קדימה,
find a way to activate the establishment, who are very, very bright.
להזיז.
Yeah.
And the issue is that they're stuck in a particular view, and if we, well, I guess I've just run into most of their stuff.
The traditionalists are.
Yeah, traditionalists, yeah.
Non-traditionalists
But the issue is,
העניין הוא ש...
in order to get these honorable people to work in this area, one has to give honor to the truth of it and make it very clear to the public that in fact there has been a lot of pop sayings about this connection between quantum mechanics and things having to do with humans.
It's overblown.
Whichever words, it's overblown, and it's better to be cautionary. We do want the field to move forward, but we have to do it carefully and with integrity, so we can be positive and at the same time pointing out where we are and the mistakes that have been made in the past, and let's not try to blow it out of proportion at this point. I mean,
Right.
I would think that's a role that
That's
you could
basically what I'm
present
saying.
very well.
Well, I certainly will, but I don't see any reason that if, for example, if you can say what you just said, you can say that too.
No, I've already got mine set. So I mean, I've decided sort of what I could say and
Because
what
that's
I
the
can't
core of
say.
scientific integrity.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, what you just said.
And
So
if
anybody
I
considers
have
themselves a
time to say
scientist
the
will
third thing I would say tonight, it would be, this is my speculative view.
Right.
Okay, but I will phrase it that way. I mean, the first is some experimental data which
Right, which you have every right to present.
which has been reproduced elsewhere, and then how we have to look at it, because quantum mechanics, presently phrased, is incapable of looking at it because it's outside the purview. And again, that's just a working model,
Right.
work
That's
in
the
progress
theory that
model. I mean,
you're
that's
using
just
to
where we
explain
are.
the data.
Yeah. And as I say, if there's time in the 15 minutes, I will discuss what I think is the whole person as distinct from what the five physical senses show us as the whole person, as the person.
Well, why don't you guys as a panel make a decision? There's part of this tonight, which is like a Q&A, open discussion. Why don't you have this issue be one of the topics? For that interactive
I'm sure it will.
process?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
It's an important issue.
deal with the stuff face up.
And I think it's a very important one because we wish to elicit the help of really top-notch people in the world. in
You know,
this
part of the
subject.
reason that I don't want, I will bring it up because I feel it's important, but I don't like bringing it up. I don't like playing that role.
Right.
Because the other side is more fun. It's much more fun to talk about the, you know, the things that are near the edge, and you know, I have my own ideas about
Sure, of
this.
course you do.
But on the other hand, when everybody's over the edge,
Somebody's got to be the cop.
you know, somebody's got to hold the rope.
May I say something practical about the type of people you can have? And I've seen many different functions in the JCCSF. You'll get anyone from street people to top professors at Stanford and Berkeley who are going to be there. You might even have a Nobel Prize winner. Last night I personally invited Jay Levy from UCSF. You never know who's going to show up. I would predict you'll get a big slice of the Russian Jewish community who's interested in Kabbalah. I think you'll get a big slice of the people who are in the English-speaking groups around here and studying Kabbalah, and maybe if there are various Kabbalah groups from various tendencies, a few sort of individuals probably will turn up, and then some sort of generally educated people, maybe with BA, BS degrees.
לי נראה
I think that
שאנחנו לא צריכים להתחשב בקהל.
it's not the audience that we should take
כי אז
into
אנחנו
consideration, because then
נתגלגל לכל מיני צורות מקריות.
we'll only be diverted into all kinds of.
יש כאן 4, 5, 6
Directions.
אנשים מכובדים,
There are
כל אחד בתחום שלו.
5 respectable people here, each in his own field of
ואם כל
knowledge.
אחד יגיד על קושי בלהתקדם במדע שלו הלאה,
And if we all point out our difficulties in advancing
ואיך הם
in our own
מחפשים
fields,
צורות משותפות איך להתקדם,
and how we look for common ways to
זה יהיה מעניין
advance,
לקהל.
that will be
בכללות.
interesting for the audience in general.
Well,
אני...
you know, it's funny. Everything that you've said so
Yeah.
far today, I've really liked.
אהבתי כל מה שאמרת
But this I disagree with.
עד היום, עד עכשיו, אבל עם זה אני לא
I've done
מסכים.
a tremendous amount of public speaking,
אני כבר דיברתי המון
and
בציבור,
and I think, you know, I think I've done a decent job at it.
ואני חושב שאני דווקא די
And
טוב בזה.
I always take great pains to try to understand
תמיד
the
מנסה
audience
להבין את הקהל,
in order so that the way that I say what I say
כדי
is understood by them.
שהדרך שבה אני אומר מה שאני אומר, תהיה מובנת.
אני אגיד למה אני ככה אמרתי.
He'll explain why he said
אני
that.
מרצה 40 שנה.
He's been lecturing for the past 40 years.
הבעיה היא שאני מפחד שבאמת יבוא קהל שמתעניין מדי בקבלה,
And the problem is that he is really afraid that too many people in the audience will be those who take an interest in Kabbalah,
בגלל ששמעו שאני מגיע,
because they heard that he's coming.
והם לא מבינים כלום בקשר בין קבלה, יכול להיות שקשר בין קבלה האפשרי ליתר החוכמות.
But they understand nothing about the possible connections between Kabbalah and the other fields of knowledge.
ואז הם יכולים לשאול כל מיני שאלות כאלו שהם לגמרי לא שייכים לנושא שלנו.
So what might happen is that they might ask questions that have nothing to do with what we're discussing here.
אלה שספציפית מתייחסים רק לקבלה.
Things that relate only specifically to Kabbalah.
אז כדי לא לגורר את כל העניין לזה, לכן אמרתי שכדאי שכל אחד ידבר יותר.
So in order to prevent that from happening, he thinks it's a good idea that each speaker will speak for a longer time.
וזה יהיה מעניין באמת, כי הקהל לא יודע את זה, לא מבין בזה.
And
זה נושא חדש.
This will be interesting because it's new for everyone.
אני מכיר הרבה מגובלים שמחכים מתוצאות מהפגישה שלנו.
He knows many Kabbalists who are just sitting and waiting for the results of this meeting.
וגם פילוסופים שאני בקשר איתם,
And philosophers too, with whom he's in contact.
שמאוד רוצים לשמוע האם יוצא מזה משהו.
People who are anxiously waiting to hear what is coming out of here.
What would they ideally hope to have come out?
מה הם היו רוצים, מה הם מקווים שיצא מכאן.
כמה דברים.
Several things.
דבר אחד, האם מדענים המתקדמים מרגישים שהתפתחות היא תלויה בשינוי הפנימיות של האדם?
The first is, do scientists in the most advanced of sciences feel that progress depends on altering the person himself.
שמה שאדם חוקר, הוא חוקר בסופו של דבר את עצמו.
That in the end, what a person studies is his own self.
והתקדמות הלאה זה תלויה בשינוי פנימי שלו.
And so further development depends on a self, on an inner change in the person himself.
אתם אומרים בסרט שסביבנו יש אין סוף אפשרויות.
In the film, you say that around us there is an infinite number of possibilities.
קבלה חושבת שאין סביבנו שום דבר חוץ מאור העליון הנמצא במלוך המוחלט.
Kabbalah thinks that around us there is nothing but the upper light in a state of complete rest.
וכל השינויים ואין סוף אפשרויות אצלנו רק בפנים.
And all the changes and the infinite amount of possibilities are all inside us.
ואנחנו רואים את עצמנו על הרקע של האור הקבוע.
And we see ourselves like on the background, or with the upper light in the background.
אני רואה את זה כביכול התקדמות עוד יותר ביחס לעולם.
I see it as the next step for the world.
מניוטון וקיוברט, איינשטיין
From Newton through Einstein, Hugh Everett, and so on.
שבאמת שום דבר לא משתנה חוץ מהכלים הפנימיים שלנו.
Realizing that in fact nothing changes except our own inner tools.
אז מקובלים פילוסופים מצפים זה מהמדענים שאולי יגיעו לאותה השקפה.
So Kabbalists and philosophers expect or would hope that scientists will reach the same perspective.
If I may add or check something here as a sidebar, I don't fully agree that the only thing we can change is ourselves inside, because we are starting to make instruments that allow us to access these higher levels, which can ultimately be used as biofeedback devices to build us inside.
זה נכון, אבל זה בסופו של דבר זה פועל לאותו מיד.
Tools to help us.
It's true, but in the end, it's still
It's
operates
still
on a
us.
person.
I mean, we are the instruments. We are the product of the process.
That is the goal of being
No doubt about that. But we often need training wheels to take the next step.
אנחנו צריכים פשוט איזשהו מכשירי אימון כאילו כדי לעשות את הצעד הבא.
So an answer that might emerge is that maybe in this group,
התשובה זה שבקבוצה הזאת,
that formulation about that it's the change of the individual, it's almost an alchemical formulation, the change in the individual that ultimately is the secret to changing,
שזה הסוד
to the most subtle of scientific advances. There might be an agreement
לשינוי,
here,
אולי פה תהיה הסכמה על זה,
but my guess is that,
אבל אני מעריך,
well, not my guess, that is certainly not believed by the vast majority of the top scientists in the world.
לא מה שרוב המדענים המובילים.
Unless somebody is willing to declare himself here and now the top scientist in the world, which I'm certainly not willing.
אלא אם כן מישהו פה מוכן להצהיר על
You know,
עצמו
I don't give
כמובן
a damn about top scientists or the scientific establishment at all. I don't care what they, let me finish.
He's saying that that's what they
I
want to
don't
know.
care what they think. All I care about is saying what I have to say, and I will say it the way I have to say it, in whatever way I wish to say it. I don't give a flying damn about what anybody thinks about what I have to say. I stopped caring about that a long time ago. What I care about is changing and transforming this planet that we're on. And I believe you have to introduce new thinking. Even if it's wrong, it doesn't matter. As long as you get people trying to see a new way of thinking. And we've got to do that. We've got to solve this stupid problem of Jew killing Arab killing Jew. We've got to stop that. There's no way that that's going to go on while I'm on this earth. No, I want to stop it. And the way I'm going to do it is by speaking adamantly about what I see as the reality of this God-created world. And if it turns out to be scientifically total garbage, I don't give a flying. It makes no difference to me because science has little credibility as the only way of seeing the world. It's only one very narrow, very limited way. And the medical model, as you well know, is full of so much bullshit about what's right and what's wrong and what's the right psychological model and what's the right medical model that we're so filled with stuff that people are looking for alternative ways of healing. And you know that. So let's not kowtow to science and is the worshiping God that we have to say, oh my God, we better not say anything that you say is wrong. Screw them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway.
You only can make fundamental good change through other people.
That's right.
And you can only reach them if you do care about what they think.
No,
And-
I don't agree.
Well, that's fine, that's my opinion. And you can't do it with a message that doesn't have integrity. You have to be telling them what you believe to be the truth.
That's what they
Just
said to
part of
Jesus.
the problem
Yeah, that's what
rather
they said
than
to
part of the
Jesus too.
solution.
You have no integrity. Get out of here. You have no integrity.
Well, the issue is I think it's a very interesting one, because if you look at a growing domain, let's say a crystal, and you create a bit of chaos in the environment, then you can perturb the interface so it can make change. If you put in too much chaos, then it just destroys the coherence that's there in the first place. So,
Maybe it needs to be destroyed.
well, no, I don't want to go that far.
Well,
But
how far do we have to go?
I will happy to assign you as the perturbing element.
I definitely
In this force. I think it is, all I'm saying it's beneficial to have some. It really is.
I'm glad. I'm unhappy, but I do not believe we have to kowtow to anybody right now because nobody knows the answer. And the ways we're going right now are clearly wrong, in my opinion. And I think in your opinion, most of our opinion, we're not doing it the right way anymore. So we need some new thinking. And I think that's what has to be happening. So that's why I believe this is an important thing. I believe that we should be reaching out to the Christian church and to the Christian mystics as well, and to the Sufis as well. And this is where I think we have to go. We got to bring this dialogue into fruition. And if we make mistakes along the way, well, I'm big. I contain multitudes. I'll pull a Walt Whitman on you.
I mean, I don't argue with that, and I find it's very interesting looking at what the Bleep movie, which has a lot of errors of fact, and yet it has reached so many people at a very deep level.
Exactly.
And
It's full of all kinds of
And that experimental
strange
data is
things.
very meaningful, whether we understand it or not.
I agree. It's hit people at the right place, and that's why people are responding to it. That's why this thing is going on. It doesn't matter when we say something not quite the way the scientists want us to say it. Bullshit, I don't care.
Well,
Let's
we
just
can-
get it out there.
Whatever we do, we can show our
You two, go.
positions and
You're
integrity.
good. Go with it. Forget about
What do
the
you think I'm
science.
doing?
I just want you to worry about the science because
I think you're completely off base.
Good. Well, I don't think I am, but I'm glad you
Well,
will.
I'm glad, now that you gave me permission to go with my gun, I just did.
I'm glad. I'm glad we
It's
disagree.
helpful. It is helpful.
And there's room for the diversity of view.
Yes.
We're all
blind man on the elephant.
We're all stronger. Diversity is where our strength is. I mean, really.
Absolutely, I agree.
I mean, the Garden of Humanity needs all that diversity.
Yes. Anyway,
That's just it. When you get a wide variety of personalities with nothing in common except this, what did you say about this?
Yeah.
What did you say about this?
well, this is going to stir up some stuff, and that's what I think is good. I think.
Yeah,
Get some stuff stirred up.
I agree.
Agree?
Thank you, everyone. I felt it was a great discussion. I really appreciate it.
I got it.